the couch, and the couch is getting kind of crowded today, but it's for a good reason. Ladies and gentlemen, we have two of our foundational pieces, guys who've been here from the beginning and have known us from the beginning, and we're going to talk about an issue that doesn't get talked about enough in the African-American community, especially amongst men, because we've been taught since we were kids, men don't cry. Men, we're tough. We have to make sure we have that strong fortitude. So we don't talk about mental health. So today we're going to dive into that. We have with us Jamie and James, two longtime friends. Fellas, welcome to the couch. How y'all doing?
Whoa, about time. Life is good.
Feels good, fellas. Feels good to be here, fellas.
Well, listen, we are glad to have you. So we won't hesitate to it. We'll get right into it. We won't even hesitate. Now, I'll throw the first question out, and I'm sure Cash and Prez will jump in as well. Speaking of mental health, let me ask you this. In your opinion, why is mental health so ignored inside the African-American community? And we'll start with you, James.
I think that, part of that reason is because, it's just upbringing. Like, in the Black community, like, you just raised in a way that it's like you internalize everything, we're raised to be strong, to put on a front, pretty much, because you deal with so much other things in the world. You have to have that strong, you got to put on that strong front. And sometimes it's at the cost of, your mental well-being. You want to be strong, and you want to give off the appearance that everything is okay, because the minute you step out that door, you're being judged, So I think, for me, from personal experiences and from others in my community, I could say that, that's probably one of the main reasons why we have that issue.
Cool. We'll toss it to you, Jamie. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, I would kind of agree with Fran as well, man. But, he kind of talked about it a little bit. Me having somewhat of a medical background, I would probably say access to care, access to those mental health professionals to actually get the help. You don't have people in our communities talking about hey, go see the psychologist, go see this, go see that. We can talk about other conversations that they do talk about. Come see us for this, but from when it comes to mental health, they don't broadcast it or advertise it in a way that we are welcome to go get that help.
I definitely think it's something that it's not advertised. When you go tell your mom something's wrong, it's either you hurting, you bleeding, or something's broken. But nobody talks about the mind being broken, because if you're talked about saying the mind's being broken, it's visualized as you soft, or you better go talk to somebody else. You better go figure it out. Never are you, like you said, are saying to go see that professional.
Have y'all? I mean, for those of us that have had our fathers in our lives, I don't think I've seen my father cry till, I don't know, I think maybe I got married. That was like the first time. You know what I'm saying? Like it takes like something really big to see that man be emotional, and I had never seen him emotional in years. So, like you said, Fran, I think it is the upbringing.
I think you bring up a good point when you say that, Cash. When you talk about men crying, like, Prez, let me ask you this: like, when is it okay for a man to cry? Because I know when I was growing up, you don't do that. Like, you a man, and you're supposed to be that manly man, and you can't be that manly man if you're crying. And then if you look at today's world, when a man cries, what do? I mean, that Jordan meme face is used for everything that is crying that is. Kanye cries. Now, that's a little bit of a story. But when you cry in a public setting, you're almost ridiculed to the point to where who wants to show that type of emotion? What are your thoughts on that, Prez?
Yeah. Like when you say the Jordan meme, I think that's what people want to get out that cry, and they're using something else as their avenue to like say how they really feel. But I mean, that's working a little bit. That social media is kind of cracking it a little bit, and just how we're approaching things. And I know, like, y'all experience the way y'all gonna talk about it to other people. It destigmatizes it a little bit further. But man, definitely can't cry in a movie. But everywhere else in life, you're good to go ahead and express yourself.
Let me throw this to our guests. Now, fellas, crying. What's the rules on that? I mean, now, friend, I really look forward to your answer, because I remember back at Travis, crying. I remember, I don't know. I remember you had a stance on that back in the day. Where we at on that?
I would say, you just, you just don't cry. You just don't cry. Like, don't cry. Period. I mean, I can't think of. I would say like the last time I like actually like shed tears probably was like when I was in going through basic training, you know, and it was rough for me, you know what I mean? And I shed tears and you know, but I didn't let nobody see. And I mean, it's just in front of my friends. I don't think I would, you know, personally, I don't think I would do it. I've never had like, I've always been one to compartmentalize things. I've always kept things to myself. Like even if I'm hurting, if I'm stressed, and that's pretty much how I've always dealt with things. And growing up, I remember my dad never used to cry. I mean, my dad, I've never seen him like hardly any emotion, you know, except for like sarcasm pretty much. I kind of like modeled my dad, you know what I'm saying? Like I never, you know, really showed like true emotions where like to the point of tears. But I think at my age now and like maturing, I think that, you know, I think I would shed a few tears, you know, in front of my boys. I think I would shed a few tears in front of my boys because like, especially you guys, like I've, you know, you guys know my whole story. So, I mean,
yeah, like, so
yeah,
speaking of your, I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm gonna cut you off. Speaking of your story, I just want to be honest and get real here. Like, we known each other for damn near 20 years. So like when we were out here in Germany, right? And we was kicking it hard, going out every weekend, you know, having the time of our lives. But little did I know you were going through something internally. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't until I was like, yo, let's go to breakfast one day. He's like, nah, man, I got a stand-in appointment. You remember that? You remember that?
Yeah,
you remember that?
man.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah. So, like, I didn't know you were going through that. You know, I didn't know you were going through that. Can you elaborate what I'm talking on, if you feel the need, you know, necessary?
Yeah, it was a tough time. It was a tough time. I was going through a divorce at the time, and you know, I was like so much going on with my job, you know, so I was still stressed out with work, and then I had to deal with the divorce, and you know, and it was just dealing with the reality of starting all over again, you know, like literally starting all over, like everything, possessions gone, everything, like you know, so it was just. That was hard. That was hard for me because I was thinking like at that point in my life, I was like, you know, I wasn't ready to like start all over from scratch, you know? So, but, you know, I'm glad I realized at the time that I needed help, you know, and I hid it from you guys, you know, for the most part, you know, but I realized that I wasn't in a great mental space and I needed some help. I needed to talk to someone. And I went to mental health and I had like a standing appointment. I had a standing appointment every week just to kind of talk my way through things and figure out what I was going to do because I didn't really know what was going to happen from that point. You know what I'm saying? And it's just hard starting all over again. So that was a tough time in my life.
Jamie, what are your thoughts on crying? You know, you've always been the person
Yeah, you've been one of the,
you know, you
always got it together.
for real. Like you was a staff sergeant out of basic. I don't even know how it happened. I remember I met you. You had a Honda and a staff. I don't even know how it happened. We was in the dorms. You was a staff. How you was a staff in the dorms? I don't even know.
That's not true. Let's clear that up real quick. That was not true. I was not a staff in the dorms.
You may have been in the dorms.
Hey, I cannot confirm or deny that. No, but I'll tell you, man, it's definitely been rough, and I'll definitely answer your question about whether it's okay to cry. For me, damn, I knew this was gonna happen. So you guys know, right? That I lost my mom and my dad within 60 days of each other. My mom actually died on her birthday, January 30th, 2018. And my dad died like 50-something days later. And in my capacity, in my job, it's difficult to deal with the different things. And I had a lot of support from a lot of people. And dealing with my mom's situation, You know, I knew I had to be the strong one. I was the youngest boy, so I had to be the strong one. And I went to the funeral and everything was okay until I can't remember her name, but one of my mom's good friends, Mary, she stole my mom's favorite song. And dude, I just lost it. And to me, it was like, why am I crying? You know? And it wasn't like, boo-hoo baby crying. It was just really, really bad. Like I just couldn't stop. I had to remove myself from the room. And it was just really bad. I felt bad because I'm supposed to be the young one and I'm supposed to be strong. And it didn't happen that way. So to answer your question, is absolutely okay to cry. I would tell you, I've been in mental health for the last 3 or 4 months, and one of the things that my provider and I talk about is being connected with your emotions. I think one thing that we fail to do as men is we're not really connected with our emotions. It's more disconnected, where we desensitize ourselves to certain things. Crying is weak. Well, that's not entirely true. We need to be more connected with our emotions. And my provider tells me that you need to figure out where you feeling this emotion. And I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, do you feel it in your head? Do you feel it in your hand? Do you feel it in your heart? And then focus on that point. I would tell you, in this pandemic, man, and this is going to sound weird, and I hear a lot of people talking about it, but don't knock it until you try it. I've been doing a lot of meditation, man, and meditation has really, really set me free to the point where I can find myself and then start my day. I used to do it, but the way I do it now is just totally, totally different, and it helps. So I'll leave it at that. I know you guys got more questions, but that was a kind of long response to, is it okay to cry?
No,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Prez.
That's definitely good. Like, so your meditation process, do you wake up in the morning and that's the first thing you like do in the morning, or is it later on in the day?
It just depends, right? So, my God, this is not a advertisement for Peloton, but I jumped on the Peloton bandwagon back in December, and that app just has everything that you need, man. So I mean, fitness, exercise, you can ride your bike, but they have like this large section for meditation. And the person just comes on, they talk to you, they're positive, they got the calming voice going on, and you just find a place in your home where you can center yourself, and you just listen and meditate, man. Just clear your mind. But for me, I kind of do it throughout the day, depending on how I'm feeling. I do it at work after my workout. And then sometimes if shit, stuff, can't say that, curves.
No, you good with shit. You good with shit. Yeah,
Okay.
shit is cool.
If shit's getting rough at work, somebody pissed me off, I close my door at work and I meditate right there, man. 5-10 minutes just to find myself, man. And that's me connecting with my emotions and trying to realize that, hey, whatever's going on in the world, it's probably really not that serious. I'm just pissed off and angry at the moment, and it's going to be okay at the end. Just like with this, the whole process of, dealing with mental health, it's going to be okay at the end of the day. You just have to find out, you just have to get through the troubling times.
So, and Fran, so if you don't mind, like you said, the portion on there, like I remember that Travis too, real G's don't cry. That was your statement all the time. So now what you're saying this, and you're letting loose a little bit more on that stance. You said you still compartmentalize like certain things. Like, how do you decompartmentalize, or how would you suggest anybody else like work on decompartmentalizing those things and finding the times to express themselves?
So for me, like, one of the main things for me that work for me is fitness, right? So if I feel a certain way and I I'm going through something, and I'm not the one to seek help, like to go and talk to a friend or something like that. And there are times I do.
We know that.
There are times I do. Yeah, there are times I do. I'll make a phone call and I will vent. But for me, on a daily, like something that I do on a daily basis is just working out. You know what I'm saying? And that for me helps to release all that stress. Like you see, like Jamie, he says Tate does the meditating and everything like that. For me, is like the gym. You know what I'm saying? So like if I'm super stressed out, I might get on a treadmill for like 45 minutes and I might do sprints. You know, I do a long workout, do some cardio and everything. And it really keeps me balanced. It really keeps me balanced. I found that like throughout the years, like I've been doing it for like 9-10 years now, of just like, you know, whenever I'm feeling a certain way, and to the point now it's like a part of my daily routine where working out and just eating healthy, and that really helps. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that also helps your mental. You know what I'm saying? How you physically keep yourself in up to par, being in shape, working out, doing the things that make you feel better physically. You know, I think it transfers over to your mental health as well. I mean, because if you out there, you just eating whatever you want to eat, and you just doing whatever, and then you going through something, oh man, you're gonna feel like shit.
Yeah.
You know, and your body's gonna take its toll on your body as well as your mind as well. So for me, I try to incorporate, because it's so difficult for me to just be open and reach out. I try to find my own personal way so that I don't like self-destruct. You know what I'm saying? Like I find a way that works for me pretty much.
So my question to both of you gentlemen is, why don't we reach out? Why don't you guys reach out and speak to one another? As far as, like you said, you vent, but it's very few and far in between where I've heard you vent to me or anybody. I don't know if y'all can vouch. You know, it's probably when we're near each other, more co-located, then it'll occur, it seems like.
I thought Fran, I don't even know Fran half the time. I'm happy to see that there's proof of life. I'm gonna be honest with you. Fran is, and that's just Fran.
Just being honest.
That's just being honest. That's just Fran. Fran is the person that it's like, you know, he will be there if you absolutely need him. But if you're looking for that daily communication, you're looking for the wrong person, because that's just not the way that he operates. Does it make it right? Does it make it wrong? It just makes it Fran. Now, I wonder what's going on with Fran 1,000,001 times. And when you get times where you want to reach out to him, it does make it difficult to reach out to you because you are not very communicated. So for the average person, or for us who I do consider to be your friends, it's very difficult to know how you are doing, because even in the chat, Fran is like, it's like a guest appearance. Like, hey, guess what? Fran posted something the other day. He said something. I said posting, that's never going to happen. But he said something in the chat, and it'll be so far and few between. Fran made a bet with somebody, then you'd be like, oh, Fran's alive. So that's like our proof of life. So that lets me know that he is doing certain things. So but I think that you get that when you get with the person.
So do y'all ever think like it's some of our how we act around things and like how we don't recognize what the person is doing as well, like around us, like we can be so distant to that point because we're just as hard-headed as the person going through it. Like, you can't cry, can't do this. Because, for example, I know one time, like, it took the wife actually, like, helping me out on this, but Fran was giving me a phone call and stuff like this, and I'm joking around like we always do, and she was like, Fran just don't usually call like out the blue. You think he's going through something? And I had to call him back and ask like, hey, everything good, man? So I think we miss those things sometimes too.
I'll talk to the Jamie. You got something, Jamie?
Yeah, my bad. Hey, so to answer your question, Fred, I think it has a lot to do with vulnerability, man. It has a lot to do with being afraid, being judged. Somebody once told me that sharing your story, great things happen when you share your stories and you're vulnerable. And to me, in my job, I have to be vulnerable a lot of times. I don't realize I'm being vulnerable. But the more I'm vulnerable with other people, the more they open up to me, the more they're honest with me. It's just like a natural reaction when they find out that you're a real person, like you're down to earth. It's like, oh, okay, I can go talk to Tate. I can go talk to him about whatever's going on in my life. And to me, in my job, it actually helps out a lot. It helps out a lot when I'm vulnerable with them, they become vulnerable with me.
You know, I think in an effort of transparency, you know, it's hard to be transparent or even sharing everything with everybody. I've known all y'all for so long, but I got my own stuff going right now, but I'm not finna put all that out. For number one, there is a point of embarrassment. There is a point of frustration. And there is a point of, like, you don't feel like going through this, telling this story over and over again. And then when you tell a story over and over again, you look at even within our own circle. Everyone in our circle has their own personality. If I tell a story one time, I know if I tell it to you, Tate, I know I'm gonna get the
right down the middle.
Right down the middle.
Black and white.
Tape has spoken. If I tell Kamadi, I'm probably gonna get an answer that has nothing to do with anything, but ends up with computers. Shago gonna tell me about the Clippers game. I don't know if he even listened to what I just said about the situation. Fran is never gonna reply. Then later when somebody died, he'll be like, "What happened?" I mean, you understand? So, we laugh. We only laugh when shit's true. You know what I mean? Fred will say something copacetic, and then he'll come back later like, what was that? So while I know everybody does care, but everybody has their own lives going on, so it's almost to the point sometimes it's like,
you don't want to bother nobody.
I don't want to necessarily bother everybody with it, with that situation. So when you talk about sharing and you talk about taking that mask off to share, and you share, are they really going, what you really going to get from it? So that's why I think it can get difficult.
So let me tell you something, right? So one thing that I have learned from this whole process, right? For me, grieving is a team process, man. Like when most people think about it on a surface level, you got the different stages of grieving, yada yada yada, blah blah blah, acceptance, whatever, right? But it's actually a circular process. You go through each one of those steps continuously. It's over and over and over, and depending on what's going on in your life, it may come out differently, right? So when I say it's a team process, right? Stuff happens all the time, and I hate using this word. I really, really hate it. I hate when other people say it. Trigger, right? It didn't become real to me until I got triggered by something happening to someone, dealing with their death, and it triggered me. And I'm like, oh, this is what people are talking about when they get triggered, right? So anyhow, when you tell people about what's going on in your life, they make you see things that you don't see in your story or whatever is going on with you. And the more people who I trust and I tell my story, let me give you a quick situation right quick. The other day, or maybe a couple of weeks ago, I was in the commissary grocery store, and one of my old civilians, we got masks on or whatever, and he comes up to me and was like, "Hey, what's going on, Tate? How you doing? How's everything going?" So we start talking or whatever, and at the end of the conversation, he goes, I say, "Hey, take it easy, be safe, and tell your wife I said hello." Right? I did not know that his wife had passed away, and dude, like shock. Like I had of course I had a natural reaction, like, oh my God, no. But it triggered me later on. Like, I feel like shit. Like, how did I not know that? And I immediately call other people, like, yo, what's going on? Am I crazy? Do I send him flowers? Like, I start tripping because it was I kind of put myself in his shoes. What if somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, how are your mom and dad doing?" And of course, they probably didn't know, but I would feel some type of way about it. And of course, he was a gentleman about it. And, he was like, "Tate, you didn't know, brother, everything's good. She's in a better place," and this and that. But it was like a trigger. But I would tell you, Hud, when I reached out to other people to kind of center myself, dude, it felt so much better to hear it from another person than keep that crap in. So I would tell you, man, it takes a team effort, bro.
For sure.
Facts, I hear you.
For sure. Like, I even knowing your situation and what you're going through, her, like, even sometimes I call and I'll be like, all business, I'll be all podcast business. Then I have to catch myself and call you right back and be like, "Hey man, how you feeling?" Like, I have to like make a conscious effort to do it, or what's going on with the situation. Can I get a update? Because I know this ain't the easiest. And I feel like probably being one of the boys that have pretty much gone through every last embarrassing moment that you can possibly go to. That's what makes me personally feel like an open book, that like if I've gotten through all those things, it's, everything that you going through right now, bro, you'll be all right. You'll be all right. I can speak to you like that. I feel like that. You know what I mean? Because I've gotten in trouble. I've gotten the Article 15s. I've gotten a divorce. I've lost a daughter. Like, all those things have happened. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that we should be able to communicate with each other when we are going through tough things, even though, we all got our busy lives and families. Like, it's never a thing to where we can't stop what we're doing to sit down and have a real conversation.
Let me just say, I don't have an Article 15 or I'm normal.
No. I'm just listening off.
I got that straight.
Yeah, I'm just listening off the things that typically make you feel like you don't
But
want to
I
talk
mean,
to people.
but at the same
That's the
time,
whole-
it's an odd situation, man, and especially when you don't have your normal support system around you to kind of guide you and get you through all your tough times. So it can be interesting.
Yeah, that's definitely. I mean, we talked on the previous pod like at times like I had difficulty like with it over here, and that was like when these two actually like left over here from Germany, like because when I came over here, I had my people. We had Sledge, and then Fran came along, and then Keith came back, and then I was good until they left, and then like man, it was just like I ain't have no type of support system, so it was like I was like, what the hell did I do? Why the hell did I stay here?
I think that's something that people take for granted. And I'll throw this question back to you guys, not necessarily one that's here, but that support system on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the importance of that support system? And when you're in a situation where you don't have one and you don't feel comfortable, like a friend, he says, I don't really want to go to mental health because there is a stigmatism. I'm gonna be real with you. There's I'd rather die as a small boy than walk in mental health and say, hey, I need an appointment to talk to somebody, because you do feel like as soon as you walk in the door, I'm deemed as crazy or something's going to pop or they're going to put me out. And that is a real life fear of a lot of people. So how important is finding that support system, or how would you recommend somebody find that support system?
It's so important. Like to have, your friends there. It's like a good support system, somebody you could just reach out to. And I can't tell you the difference between me being here versus me being in Germany with Cash, with Keith. So it's a huge difference to have a friend that I see on a daily basis, and I could just kind of just vent about it. And a lot of times it's just, it's work stuff. It could be personal. It could be whatever it is, but just to have somebody there to just be able to at least be able to vent to some degree, to some degree. I think it's the best. It's the best thing. And then at the point of being here by myself, and not having anybody like my super close friends out here. At one point, it was just like, F it. I don't care about the stigma of mental health and blah, 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 and whatever. I don't care. I don't care. I'm going, and I said, it don't matter. It don't matter. Put me on whatever list you want to put me on, and I don't care. So I'm going. So that's what it boiled down to, because at the end of the day, I got to look out for me, right? I gotta put me first, especially my mental health. I gotta put that first. So I'm not going to concern myself with the judgments of other people or my leadership or however they feel. I really don't give a damn. To be honest with you, I really don't. At this point, I don't give a damn what anybody thinks about me. So I'm just going to do me. I'm going to do me, and if that means having a stand-in appointment every Monday until the day I retire, then that's what it is. That's what it is, and that's what it's going to be. Because I have to, at the end of the day, I have to put me first, my mental health, and taking care of myself, and thinking life after the military and whatnot.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Fran that support system is invaluable, man. You have to have it. I think the important thing about having that support system is knowing that you have this circle of friends that you can just go to and talk to without feeling judged, right? Because when you think about it, like that's one of the reasons that we don't want to go talk to people, is because we're going to feel like we're being judged. But when you do have a support system and you can just go talk about anything and there's no judgment at the end of that, oh, even better, right? So I would just add that on it, just having a system or a support system that, you're not going to feel judged by having these tough conversations.
Hey, so thank y'all, fellas. We back again on this. But the question I got is, have y'all heard recently that in Mississippi, the barbers are getting mental health training, and they're going to actually start opening up, talking to their patrons? Do you think that's a good idea? And then what other things do you think we can go even further within the community to destigmatize mental health?
When I read that, I would say it's a phenomenal idea. You think about, especially in the Black community, we always trying to get a good haircut or whatever. We have no idea what those conversations are in the barbershop, and it goes from sports to sex to race to whatever. So why not mental health? As far as expanding it, why not the beauty salons? Women go to these salons for a couple hours. Same thing with nail technicians. Why not there? I mean, we can talk about nail technicians again, but
You got
later
a nail
on,
technician?
I would say, yeah. No, I'm talking about in general. I'm talking about Black people, period.
Gotcha.
So you're saying you don't have a nail technician?
I don't have a nail technician, but
we're working on
hey, ain't
getting
nothing wrong with
makeup
getting a
artist.
manicure.
Yeah.
Yo,
Yeah, I see
makeup
that.
artist, yes, next level, absolutely.
Thank you.
Makeup,
Thank you.
Yeah.
For real.
But I think that's dope, Prez, man. Like I can't wait for it to happen and for more people to do it. And I think that these type of conversations are happening a lot more often. Like Charlemagne the God, who else that I listen to a lot? Joe's podcast, you name it, man. I think a lot of Black men or just men in general are talking a lot more about this. And just saying it's okay. So I'm liking the trend that this is going to where we can start having these conversations and stop giving a damn about how people view us.
I'm gonna go one step further. I think the beauticians and the barbers and the nail techs and even the makeup artists, however you want to play it, they've been having these conversations. So I think to give them the training just makes them better at it. If you think about it, you have conversations with your barber that you probably don't, if you have the same barber, that you really may not have with other people. Women have conversations at the beautician that they probably don't have other places. The talk at the barbershop, I've learned more at the barbershop sometimes than I've learned in some lectures halls that I sat in, because for a young Black man, especially in the communities that I grew up in, if you didn't have that father figure, sometimes that barbershop is where you learn some of your, I know y'all say, I make up words, but some of your mannerisms that you get in life, some of your life lessons that you do get them in these barbershop settings because you learn about different things. So I think it's great that Mississippi's doing that and providing that training, because now those conversations that can be misguided from that person who doesn't have that proper education set, they now have some tools to help guide that direction and guide that conversation down the right path.
Hey, do y'all feel some type of way that it's happening in Mississippi? That's supposed to be like our worst state, slowest state on all this stuff, and like they're being more progressive on than all these other places. I think it's kind of crazy.
I think the slowest state is Alabama.
I tried. He put it right up there. Like, here you go.
I tried.
He put it.
I'm sorry. No more. That was it.
But look, like,
but I'm saying, like, it's coming from there instead of a place like New York, Baltimore, San Francisco. Those are the progressive places, and those are the places that deal with these things, and a little bit more forward thinking than the people in Mississippi. Like, I wouldn't expect for that idea to come out of Mississippi. I think it's a great idea, though.
I think, but on a serious note, I think the reason why it's happening in Mississippi, Press, is because in the states that you mentioned, the New York, the Californias, these states are there's a lot more access to those types of trainings and referrals to psychiatrists. In Mississippi, a state of that magnitude, the last thing they're ever thinking about are psychiatrists and psychology and things of that nature. So to start there, that's the only place these people are going to go. They are the destitute of that community doesn't think of, let's go to the psychologist. But they do go to the barber. But in San Francisco, I wouldn't be far-fetched for me to see a young man go see the psychiatrist.
Okay.
But in Mississippi and parts of Florida, parts of Alabama, that true southern states, it's more common to see him go to that barber than it would be to see him go to Dr. Jones, who is the PhD in psychology or psychiatric care.
Yeah. And that's no disrespect to nobody in Mississippi or anything like that. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful to none of them. What I was just saying is just like, hey, you used to seeing these new forward thinking places happening at the bigger cities and happening in these country settings. Like, hey, they got to give us credit for doing something right for a change.
I agree.
Yeah. And I tell you what though, it's a starting point, right? So you say, why Mississippi? Why? It don't matter. Like, it's a starting point. So they okay, Mississippi can set the trend, right? So Mississippi starting it now, and then who knows, as neighboring states start to take it on, as long as something is being done, right? So it don't matter where it's coming from, right? And it shouldn't just stop at there. It shouldn't just stop at the barbershops and like Jamie said, the nail salons, schools, teachers, like. It just needs to be widespread. And for Mississippi, I got to hats off to Mississippi for doing that, You know what I'm saying? Because to me, that's they starting the trend, and maybe other states, so they'll follow suit when they see how effective it is. You know, but you got to do something, right? You know, clearly it's an issue in the Black community, and it's something that needs to be addressed. And that Mississippi doing what they're doing right now, I think that they're the trendsetters. They're setting the trend, and hopefully you have these other states that follow suit.
So, Jamie, you got anything to that?
No, I already
Right,
talked
cool.
on it. Yeah.
How did y'all feel like coming out on the other side of the going to the mental health?
For me, honestly, I'm still going through it, man. It's crazy that you bring it up because last week was supposed to be my last session, and I talked to my doctor, about the commissary situation, and she was like, Jamie, I don't think we're done yet. And it was like, okay, you know, we were meeting once a month. Now we're back to twice a month. But I think the success will come later in life, you know. Truth be told, man, you got everybody doing push-ups and things of that nature online for veterans who, you know, commit suicide once, you know, they leave the military, things of that nature. These are dealing with it now is going to prevent us from being one of those statistics. That's probably bad to say, but you think about it, those guys who decided to make that ultimate sacrifice, they probably wasn't afforded the same opportunities that we were, you know? So kind of take advantage of it while you can. And, you know, I don't know, man. It's just, I think the success will come later in life. I personally, I can't see it right now. I think with time I'll get better. I'll be able to be emotional when it comes to death, naturally emotional when it comes to death. And yeah.
Thank you, Jamie. Fran.
I think for me, it's like Tate said, man, it's still ongoing for me. So I'm not. It's not like I'm not on the other side of this where I'm like, okay, I went through this and I've overcome and I'm on the other side. I'm not. You know, and I still need to go to mental health. You know what I'm saying? Ever since COVID happened, it kind of slowed things down. You know what I'm saying? I started before COVID hit, and then during COVID, like with everything, appointments, they were canceling. They would cancel the appointment. So I wasn't being seen as much. So it's still something that's ongoing. I know it's something that I definitely need to still be seen for, and I haven't really put out there, you know, as far as everything that I've like experienced and how it's affected me. I haven't sat down with, you know, a psychologist and just kind of talked through everything. You know what I'm saying? When I was, you know, going through my divorce, I did that, you know, but that was 10 years ago. See what I'm saying? So I'm talking currently, like right now, you know, the issues that I have don't stem from my divorce. You know, it stems from my experiences in the service, you know, being deployed and going through a mass casualty, being here and having an active shooter at my base. You know what I'm saying? So the things that I'm dealing with now, you know, are not the same issues that I had back then. So I know that I have to talk through these things and go through the process, because I realize the ways that it has affected me and how I just operate on a day-to-day. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, staying up, not getting sleep, you know, I'll stay up all night. I get maybe 2-3 hours of sleep, and it's normal to me now. You know, it's normal to me now, but you know, it's not normal. You know what I'm saying? It's not okay. You know, or just sometimes being spaced out when I'm driving. You know, just my mind goes elsewhere, or I go back to those situations, and I space out. I miss my exit and stuff like that. You know, I make excuses. You make excuses for yourself, like, okay, this is just me. You know, just this is how I am. But no, you know what I'm saying? Like there are things that, you know, I've experienced that people can experience that changes their mental, you know, and it causes PTSD, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? If you don't address those things, if you don't, you know, decompartmentalize those things and sit down and talk through those issues with someone, it just progresses and it gets worse. It's a lot going on in the world. And I believe that now is the time to deal with those internal issues that we have. Because in the Black community, that mental health, that is an issue that we just don't feel it's important enough, or we just kind of push off to the side. And clearly, we're to the point where these issues need to be addressed in the midst of what's happening in the world today. So,
well, I think what it comes down to, you made a good point about coming on the other side, and you both made a point of still going through it. Just like your overall fitness of your body, your brain fitness, you have something that you continue to work on. And it's something that we're going to have to continue to work on as a community, something you all continue to work on, something we're all going to continue to work on. And for all our viewers and listeners, it's something we hope that you guys continue to work on. I think we definitely hit the topic, and we want to take the time to thank you guys for taking the time to sit down with us on the couch. I definitely think we've addressed the topic, and we want to say thanks. So you got anything else for him, Cash?
Oh, nah, yeah, appreciate you guys telling your stories, being transparent, and just letting people in on what you guys are going through. That way, maybe they hear something that you guys are going through, and it'll help them go seek some type of help, some type of counseling, or reach out to their friend or family member and let them know that they're going through things, and they can too start getting on the path to to getting some help in the future.
Prayers, you got anything to finish it up?
Yeah, I just want to say once again, thank y'all for telling y'all story. Thank you for the support that Tate, like the shirt.
You know what I'm saying? In the building. What kind of shirt you got on? Never mind.
Hey, I know we're getting ready to end, but hey, I want to put this out. I want to take a moment to say thank you guys. You guys, my brothers, 20-some years in the game, and you guys had started this pod a year and a half ago, and I think this is episode 65. So a round of applause to you boys for continuing. And hey, I got another 100 coming you guys' way. So keep going, man.
Fran, can you just go live on air and say,
can you match that 100?
Come on, Fran.
I'll match it. Brother.
Y'all heard it.
You heard it.
Brothers helping brothers.
Hey, we appreciate the support, man. So we definitely appreciate that. So we thank y'all for joining, man. And I hope y'all had some good time on the couch.